And then it also helps to which page you know update dynamically. And the main advantage is that it's very smooth and faster user experience, because user does not need to guess that what is the error he is making while he is filling the form. Okay, so two ways we can do this form validation. One is using control components, which is the recommended, and then uncontrolled components or input. Okay, so control components where we can control all the input using useState hook. The other one is the browser DOM will control it. Okay, so this is the recommended approach because it makes the validation faster. Okay, and better control. Okay, so we'll do this one. So here we'll in this lecture and the following coding demo, we will use basically two fields. Okay, and then you can add more widgets. Like, so here we'll use the username and then password. Okay, so the two fields will take the input and then we'll check that whether they satisfy the requirements. Like, let's say that usernames should be at least 6 character long. Okay, so we need to check this when user give the input whether it is at least 6 character or not. Okay, and then let's say that it's only will be lowercase letter and digits. Okay, so there will be no other special characters. Okay, so that's why we need the regular expression. So here for lowercase letters like from A to Z and then 0 to 9, so these are the digits, right? And then this is a range, right? So this is the symbol for range in regular expression. And then the other thing, you also see the caret symbol. So that it shows that, okay, at the beginning, okay, so the beginning, it should be either a lowercase letter or the number. And then also you see that this is the dollar sign is also means that this is, should be at the end, also will be either a lowercase letter or digit. Okay, and then you also see a plus sign. So plus sign means that it can be at least one or more. Okay, so those are some rules uh, for regular expressions. Okay, and then here for password, there are like four requirements. Okay, so password at least should be 8 characters long, and then one uppercase character. So that means the password must have at least any character from A to Z, which is uppercase, at least one digit, so 0 to 9, and at least one of the following special characters. So let's say that it also needs one of the special character. Okay, so these are the regular expression we need to check with the user input. Okay, along with the length. So if this is fine, there is no problem, then we also need to check this and then see that, okay, whether it satisfied all the four requirements. Okay, so any of them is not fulfilled, then we raise some error that, okay, so this requirement is not fulfilled. Okay, so here is the initialization for our control input. So we are taking username, we initialize to empty string. Password is also an empty string. Okay, but here is the object for username requirements. So it should be long enough and only contain lowercase letters and digits. Okay, so initially we set them as true, otherwise we'll get error, right? If you make it false, then it's starting to generate the error. So right now, let's say that there is nothing, right? Username and password, everything is empty, so we don't have any problems. We set them true. Okay, password requirement is so this is the objects and they are initialized to true, so that is long enough, special character uppercase, and has digits. Okay, so this is our initialization using useState hook. Now so we need to see that whether the username is valid, and then we also need to see that password is valid. Okay, so username is valid, we'll check that whether whatever the username the user gave it, Okay, so username dot length was that it is greater than or equal to 6 characters. So if it is true, then you assign true value in here. If it is false, you assign false value in here. So similarly here, whether it contain the lowercase letters and digits. Okay, so the dot test, so that's your regular expression, dot test. So test, and then we are passing the username here. So it's basically checking that this regular expression is in there. Okay, so if it find it, then it's return true. So test method will return true or false, okay, based on the regular expression and your input. Okay, and then whatever this thing, these objects will set it for username requirement. Okay, and then so this one is basically user set username requirements we need when you render some error message. We need to check that whether this one is okay, I mean is true, or this one is true or not, right? If they are not true, so let's say if this one is not true, so we need to render some error message, okay, so that user know that what is the problem. Okay, the other thing that we also want to see that, okay, for the form handling. Okay, so the, say like when you click the form, and then it will do the handle submit, it will call the handle submit. Okay, so handle submit will do what? It will check that the username, this one is valid. Okay, so that means you satisfy both the requirements, so long enough and then lower case and digits. Okay, so if you satisfy both this, so it will return true. Okay, so so if either of them is not true, then you basically not submit the form. So that's why I said event or prevent default. Okay, so if either of them, either the name requirements, all the requirements are is any of the requirements is not fulfilled. Okay, okay, in the name, or any of the requirement in the password is not fulfilled, then the form will not be submitted. Okay, so that's this is there. So this is the password field, the same. Okay, so we need to check all these 4 requirements. So here we see the password length is whether it's greater than or equal to 8. If it is, then it assign true. And then here is our regular expression, which we have already discussed in the previous slides, that okay, so this is checking for the special character, this is the uppercase, this is the digit. Okay, and then we use the test method. Test methods will return either true or false. Okay, and then this one will return true only of all of the requirements are fulfilled. Okay, so that's why we have logical and. Okay, logical and condition means that if any of them is false, so the whole thing will be false. Okay, and here we are checking that if any of them are false, then we will not submit the form. Okay, so that's the form validation. And then the form creation. Okay, so we need to take we need to create the form, and then and then we have a handle submit. So when you submit the form, okay, so it called the handle submit, and handle submit will check that okay whether the username is valid and then password is valid or not. Okay, so one extra thing is here that the action, so we'll send to here. Okay, so this is basically an education purpose server which actually extract the information from the name field. Okay, and then just display it. Okay, so we'll send this one to this server. Okay, um, and then we'll use the method is post. Method post means that information that we are sending will go in an encoded form as a part of the request body. Okay, it will not go as a part of the query string. Okay, so what we are sending, so here is just the username. Okay, I did not add the password field here because anyway, in the coding demo, we are going to write it. Okay, so it's very similar like the one widget to others. So here I just showed you the username. So we need to use the name field because otherwise the server cannot get the information. And then the so the value is registered to the username, which is our uh, React useState control variable. And then onChange, so if you write anything in this field, okay, your username, then the set username function will be called, and then it will set the value that you write in that field. Okay. The same thing is also for the password field as well. Okay. So now here is the error handling. Okay. So as you said that the name requirements has two requirements. One is long enough, which is at least greater than 6. I mean, you can set whatever the requirements you want. So if this is false, then you just generate this error message. Okay. And then here, if this is false, so let's say that you are not containing only lowercase letters and digits, then it will generate this error message. Okay. The same thing will do password. Okay. So we need to generate 4 error messages if in, for any of the 4 cases. Okay. So that's it for the explanation part. We'll see in the next video the coding demo. Okay. So see you and thank you very much.